safe to say Vincent Kompany is doing very well at Bayern Munich. They had an incredible game the other day, scoring a ton of goals, and I thought, do you know what? It looks pretty fun. So let's go over and build a tactic with him in FM24. It is going to be a 4-2-3-1, and it gets results for absolute fun. It scores goals, good on the ball, great at the back. It ticks all the boxes. If you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you're not aware at the moment, we have got a rebuild channel. So go on over and check it out if you like your rebuilds, because I'm doing any team you can imagine. So be sure to go and check it out. But let's go over and crack on and build this amazing Vincent Kompany tactic. So our first test is going to be with his current team. That is going to be FC Bayern. But first of all, to show you what we're going to build off, it is going to be a tiki-taka loaded in. And of course, we are going to load in that famous but wonderful 4-2-3-1. Come to test them with Bayern though, I know they are a very good team, but we nearly had a 100% win rate, and do you know what? We went invincible, 33 wins, 1 draw, we done the Leverkusen, we did not lose a single game, a stellar season, also winning the Pokal 4-1 against Union Berlin. And as for the players, we didn't even have one player that scored 60-70 goals. It was a real solid team effort, and as you can see from the stats, we outscored everyone by some distance. Possession, we are going to be down in 4th place, but I will happily sacrifice a few percent because of how dominant we were. The most shots, the most dribbles, defensively, absolutely incredible. This is a very, very strong season. As for the data hub though, this is what I like to call a tactic that checks all the boxes. 3.56 goals per game, 0.56 conceded. We've got over 20 shots a match, a pretty relatively decent pass completion, and a good tackle win ratio. I will say this is not the highest amount of goals we did score. We have got an attack and tactic of this version, which I will say did score roughly about a goal extra a game. But if you're after a tactic which can just pretty much be plug and playable, take into any game, this is one of the most balanced and rewarding tactics I think I've made in quite some time, because it's just so, it is balanced. That is literally the key word to say. It does everything to a very, very high level, and I know we are playing with Bayern Munich, but I genuinely believe you could take this tactic and run into any team and get a result. It's a very, very, very solid start. Let's go over and learn how we made it. This is going to be the tactic. It is going to be based off a positive 4-2-3-1 on the tiki-taka style. Of course, I want to quickly say, if you want to get access to all of these wonderful perks, you get the whole lot on this channel. You really do. Over on the Patreon, you get access to all 3 of these tactics. You get them on console, you get them on mobile, you get all of my rebuilds, which of course are on my second channel. You get the rebuild tactic files, you get one-on-one tactical help. And if you are watching this video and you're not interested in Football Manager, I don't know how, but there is still a reason to go over. We do a big monthly giveaway, and at the moment it's £500 split between multiple winners, so a lot of people do get a piece of the pie. So come on over and get involved. The link is going to be in the description, and you can be one of close to 5,000 members. But let's go over and break down this 4-2-3-1. And also, I do apologise it took me so long to actually make. I was on holiday, so I do apologise, but sometimes we need a little break. But let's go over and build this 4-2-3-1. So we are going to kick things off with the goalkeeper, who is going to be a sweeper keeper, who is simply, keep saying simply, going to be set to support. Do not know what happened there. As you can tell, I'm quite excited to be back in the groove. Now, when it comes to the right back, we are going to go with a wing back, who is going to be set to support, and we are going to add some instructions on him. We are going to have him set to sit narrow, we're going to have him on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. So just a player that's going to sort of tuck in and be quite close to that ball playing defender on the right hand side. When it comes to those ball playing defenders, by the way, they are simply both going to be set to the default. So 2 default ball playing defenders on the left and also right hand side of that back line. Now when it comes to the left back, we are going to change it up a little bit. Of course, they have got Alphonso Davies, who is an incredible attacking left back, and we are going to have him set as a wing back on attack, and he is going to have some instructions. We're going to have him set to take more risks, we're going to have him set to cross more often, we're going to have him on run wide and also stay wider with tackle harder. Now I know it's a lot of instructions for a wing back, we rarely have that many applied to a wing back, but if you've got a wing-back like Alphonso Davies in your team that is incredibly good at attacking, very quick, you want to have all of these selected. If you don't, maybe tame it down, have him on support, don't have him running wide all the time, but if you have got a player like it, make sure you're getting the most out of him, because it does make all of the difference, I can promise you that. Now going over to the sort of 2 deep options in this 4-2-3-1, when it comes to the left-hand side, we are going to have a DLP, who is simply going to be set to support, and that player is going to have one instruction, and that is going to be set to tackle harder. So again, a lot of aggressive players in this team, putting in challenges to fight to win for the ball back. And to partner him, we are going to go with a roaming playmaker. You could probably see that coming. Pretty much the only obvious option to use. on support, and we are going to have him selected on moving to the channels and also tackle harder. So a midfield pairing that, you know, one player is going to sit deep, look for really good runs being made, and a person next to him roaming about, linking up the play, probably the perfect combo, to be honest with you. Now, as we go up into the midfield, pushed up a little bit, we are going to go with an advanced playmaker who is simply going to be set to attack, who has got some custom instructions. We are going to go over and add them on. We're going to have them on get further forwards, moving into the channels, and also roaming from the position. This will usually be your Musiala, and he's an absolute joy to play with on this game. So if you haven't got him, you're not playing as Bayern. If you got the money, make sure you sign him because he thrives in this system. Now, when it comes to the wingers, they are going to be a little bit different. So let's go over and look at the winger on the right first, who is going to be a winger actually on attack, and he is going to have some instructions. So on the right hand side, we are going to have him on cut inside with the ball, roam from position, and also tackle harder. And on the left, we're going to go ahead and treat ourselves to an inside forward who's going to simply be set to attack with some instructions as well, and that's going to be consistent of roaming, sitting narrow, and also tackling harder when, of course, we're out of possession. So it's a nice mixture of the wings because both of them at some point are going to be cutting in, but of course on the right hand side it's going to be a winger, and on the left we are going to go with that inside forward on attack. And lastly, we are going to deploy the advanced forward. Now, this is the only sort of area you might argue with me a little bit on, because of course it is Harry Kane. You could say Josh is more of a complete forward, and maybe you are right, and I have maybe tailored this a little bit to results instead of 100% realism when it comes to this one sort of area, but I'm honest and I'll say that right now. 100% realism, you might want to go with a complete forward, but for more results based, if that's what you're going for, we are going to go with that advanced forward who is simply going to be told to roam from position, and that's going to give you your player roles. Let's go to the team instructions. So again, the tiki-taka on the positive mentality, we are going to go all the way down to fairly narrow when it comes to the attack and width. We're going to pass into space, focus down the left and the right hand side. We've got two ball playing defenders, two sort of DMs. We may as well play out from the back and build up from the back to obviously approach that front four of attack. A very good way of playing football. Of course, very patient when it comes to Vincent Kompany, so we are going to work the ball into the box while running at defence and also deploying that higher tempo and a shorter passing directness. So what I love about this tactic is it's aggressive, it's fast paced. We are going to run at defence, but when it comes to actually getting near that box, we are going to be patient. We're going to work the ball into the box, so it's all guns blazing to win the ball back. We're going to run at them, but when we're there, we'll take our time, look for the perfect chance, and it's a very good way of playing football. And do you know what? I was a bit surprised at Kompany going to buy him, but so far he's doing an absolute fantastic job. In transition, we're going to counter press, we're going to opt for the counter attack, we're going to distribute quickly, play to the centre backs, and simply roll the ball out. Now, once again, it's an area which maybe you can think, Josh, do I have to roll it out? You could also opt for short goal kicks, but I would channel it through the centre backs because you've got two of them that are both ball playing defenders, and it makes sense to use them when you can. And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go with that high pressing line of engagement. The high defensive line is going to be selected. We're going to step up more, get stuck in, prevent short goal per distribution, and lastly, max out that trigger press. And that is going to give you the default 4-2-3-1. If you've been on this channel for some time now, you already know. If you don't, we've got 3 tactics every single video. Now to an attacking tactic designed for attacking, so if you need to score a goal, or if you're playing as a real big powerhouse, or maybe you want to stick around to the defensive tactic that is to defend a game out, and also for your underdog teams. So let's go over and learn about the tactic that scored an extra goal per game. And that was done with Napoli, where we enjoyed an invincible season once again. 36 wins and 2 draws. The Italian Cup is ours, as is the Italian Super Cup, which we are going to win 4-1 as well, just to showcase that. We were absolutely dominant. The Italian Cup, not as many goals, but still got the job done. As for the actual league, we had players scoring goals for absolute fun. This man in particular, he really did turn up for us this season. Stats, we outscored everyone by a ridiculous amount of goals. Conceded, very good defensively, ranking first by quite some distance, and the most clean sheets. Possession, we are not going to be favourites in possession at all, so I'm going to be honest and showcase that very obviously. Now, when it comes to the data hub, it is going to be 4.66 goals per game, just under 21 shots a match, a great pass completion, and a very good when it comes to the conceded per game at 37 or 0.37%. Now, what I will say is you might expect more possession when it comes to a Vincent Kompany tactic, and that's what I like to explain when I break this down, because when we make an attacking tactic, I will be honest and say we sacrifice a little bit of that possession control sort of style because we're trying to seek goals. So that is why you're not going to have as much of the ball, but you are going to score more goals because we're going a little bit more direct. The attacking version of the Vincent Kompany tactic is going to appear to be somewhat the same. Of course, it is going to be the same shape because I try and keep it as to normal as possible, just with a few extra tweaks. So the goalkeeper is now going to be a sweeper keeper on support. Both of the ball playing defenders are now going to be dribbling more on the left and the right hand side. The wing back on the right and on the left are a little bit different. They are both now on attack though. So on the left, a wing back on attack on take more risks, cross more, run wide, stay wide, and also tackle harder. And on the right, it is going to be another wing back on attack on sit narrow, tackle harder, and also mark tighter. The DLP is going to remain the same. The roaming playmaker also do remain the same. Because we had so much change going on with the wing backs and the backline being, let's say, a little bit more attacking minded, I didn't also want to change the DM options. The winger on the right is now on cut inside, shoot more, roam, and of course tackle harder. And on the left, it's going to be exactly the same. So what we've got here is a nice mixture of players. The wide players, the winger and the inside forward, were already very attacking, but now they're going to be joined not only by the left back, but also by the right back, which they can interlock with, interchange, link up play, and it is really, really attacking. And I will say once again, for those of you that do skip parts of the video, this is designed for if you're in desperate need of a goal or to be used with a powerhouse. They're the only two reasons to use the attacking tactic, just to make that very, very clear. In the midfield, the advanced playmaker on attack, on get further forwards, roam from position and move into the channels, and the advanced forward, well, he remains unchanged. In possession, by the way, we are still on tiki-taka on the attacking mentality. We are going to go down to fairly narrow. We're still going to work the ball into the box because that is the Vincent Kompany way. We're going to pass into space while playing out from the back and focusing down the left and the right hand side. The real key change, because this does remain the same, shorter and higher, is the addition of being more expressive alongside of run at defence. So the real big change is simply just having be more expressive, because we want the players to take risks. We don't want them to sort of be nervous to, lose the ball. At this point, we're trying to score more goals, take the risk. Again, it is something which will counteract having loads of the ball, but if you're in need of a goal, this is what you want to be doing. In transition, we are going to counter press, counter, roll the ball out to the centre backs. Once again, you could use short goal kicks. And lastly, we are simply going to have distribute quickly when it comes to the goalkeeper in possession. When it comes to out of possession, however, we are going to go a little bit more attacking and have a much higher defensive line, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We're going to get stuck in and simply step up more. And as for the trigger press, we're going to max that out to much more often. And that's going to give you the attacking version of this tactic. But of course, Vincent Kompany did manage Burnley, and as you can see, I'm going to include it. So let's go and see what we've done while we're playing with an underdog team. We'll say the English Cups weren't too pretty, to the point where it's not even worth showing you. They were not a good sort of start or end. We did not get anywhere in the Cups. But in the Premier League, we do actually win the Premier League, not flawlessly by any means. 3 draws and 5 losses. You can see some of the losses here, some against big teams. I mean, Nottingham Forest isn't exactly a big team, so we did slip up a couple of times, but still, we get the job done. And as for the stats, you can see outscoring everyone. So attacking was our real strong point. Defensively, we fell off a little bit when it comes to the conceded, and the clean sheets, only one behind City, to be fair. Possession wise, of course, there's a lot better teams here you can see on the ball than us. So when it comes to playing as an underdog team, I've gone with a little bit of a sacrifice possession and just take shot approach, because it does work a lot better. What I tried to do is, you'll see it when we break on the tactic, is I have tried to tailor this for you if you are playing as a Burnley team. So if you are playing a sort of a mid-table team, I would use the default tactic. If you are playing as a Burnley or a real lowdown team, this is going to be the one for you. I will quickly show the data hub as well, because you probably are wondering. 2.95 goals per game, so still very, very good. Over 15 shots a match, a very good pass completion, and the goals conceded, we've somehow kept under a goal a game, so I'm absolutely thrilled with that. Let's go over and learn how the defensive tactic is a little bit different from the others. So this is the tactic. It is going to shape up a little bit different. As you can see, right off the bat, there's going to be a lot more of a defensive sort of element when it comes to the back line. And as for the wide players, both now on support, but the goalkeeper does remain the same. Both of the ball playing defenders simply on defend. The wing back on the left and on the right are slightly different, but both on wing backs, both on defend. On the right, sit narrow, tackle harder and mark tighter, and on the left, stay wider, tackle harder and also mark tighter. Now, of course, on the right, he's sitting narrow because we've got a wide player out here, and on the left, we've got an inside forward, so he is going to be staying wider. The DM comes in on the right, simply on support, on tackle harder, and next to him the DLP remains the same, simply on tackle harder. Now, where this tactic is going to change is, and this is why I say it is designed for smaller teams, because we have gone with a more sort of controlling way of playing football that won't score as many goals. But if you are playing as a smaller team, it's the perfect tactic to go into a game with and get a grasp of the game, get a feel for the game, and then maybe you can switch to the default or the attacking tactic. The ringer on the right is going to be set to support, on cut inside, roam, and also tackle harder. And on the left, the inside forward on roam, sit narrow, and also tackle harder. The advanced playmaker is going to remain in the team because he's a pivotal player in this team on roam and move into the channels. And we have gone with a deep line forward to just link up the play a little bit better, control the game on pass it shorter and roam from position. So again, if you're playing as a smaller team or you're trying to waste time, run out a game the last 10-15 minutes, this is going to be the bad boy you want to be using. Let's go over and learn about the team instructions. So again, the tiki-taka on the positive mentality, this is where things are going to drastically change. So we still are going to be fairly narrow. This is going to remain exactly the same as what you're seeing. So simply on the default, we still are going to work the ball into the box and play out from the back because they are the real two key principles of this entire system. However, the tempo remains in the middle and the passing goes down to much shorter, meaning that tempo is going to be set to slightly lower. So it's quite a big change and a big style of change as well. But trust me, as a smaller team, you want to be quite reserved, and this gets the job done. In transition, we're going to counter press, leave this blank, and roll the ball out now to anyone across the back line because, of course, the wing backs aren't going to be attacking. They're always going to be quite back to the goal. So anyone across the back line. And lastly, out of possession, we are still going to roll with a high defensive line and the high pressing line of engagement. The trigger press is going to remain still maxed out because I still want a little bit of fight in the team. We're going to step up more and also prevent short goal distribution because we have still got quite a fair few players up here. We've got 4 players up here who can close down on the goalkeeper, so that's why that is going to remain exactly the same. But that's going to give you 3 variants of Vincent Kompany's 4-2-3-1. As to date, he's only played this formation, so if he changes it up ever, I will go ahead and make a new video because it's quite fun watching him play. Now again, this default one is designed for a top 6 team or powerhouse. The attacking version is tailored towards a top 4 team or to be switched to at the end of a game if you're desperate for an equaliser or a winner, and the defensive one is really designed for a low down team or to defend a game out with. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Apologies if the voice is a little bit different. I had a big travel day a couple days ago and it's clearly affected the vocals a little bit, so hopefully that's okay for next video. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.